live. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It is House Energy and Digital Infrastructure. And we are back at 3:30 on February 10th. And our 3:30 witness was not able to join us. So I thought we'd just take a few minutes and talk about our budget work, and then we can be done for the day. We could also make sure that everybody has the bill that we're voting on tomorrow, actually. Okay, so the budget. So I want to make sure that we know what we need to do for our budget letter. So our budget letter is due to House Approps a week from Friday. And what I'm envisioning, we don't have really specific concrete asks like some of the ones we had last year. We had committees, or agencies and departments coming to us and saying, will you please write in your letter that you approve this or that. So we were taking testimony on specific requests. This year, we're more in oversight mode. We're reviewing, the budget areas that are under our oversight. And I think reassuring House Appropriations that we've taken testimony, that we understand any changes, and that we either have an opinion or have a recommendation. So the areas of the budget that we need to make sure that we understand and can write a little summary of are B105, that's the Agency of Digital Services, B233, the Public Service Department, B233.1, that's the Community Broadband Board, and then 234, the Public Utility Commission. So I haven't gone back and pulled together, all the testimony and all my thinking on this. I haven't had time to really dive in. But we have taken testimony from PUC. They came in and presented their budget and talked about their budget and gave us an overview. And so we have that testimony we can go back and look at. And I don't think we need to have them back in, but folks should find their testimony and take a look. And I'm going to try to pull together something organized for us to look at with plenty of time. We've heard from the Community Broadband Board. I know we had them in to talk about their budget. We had DPS come in to talk about their budget. And we've been working on the ADS budget. So in my mind, at least this is where I think we are. PUC, we need to look at a summary of what we've learned and make sure there weren't any specific asks. And make some kind of a, recommendation. Vermont Community Broadband Board, I don't think we need additional testimony. I think we're at the point of summarizing and giving our thoughts. And same with DPS. Agency of Digital Services, I think it might be helpful to take that final round of testimony that we're hoping to do today and hear from JFO. Because JFO has also been meeting with ADS and meeting with Commissioner Gresham and learning about these changes and making sure they understand these changes. And I think that they could come in and tell us what they've learned, and they could also talk to us, and they've offered to talk to us about something that Lisa Govin was saying at the very end of our testimony with the ADS, which is that there are standards in place around these contracts and around bill payment and around deliverables that aren't changing. And so I think it might be helpful to all of us just to hear about those. So I'm feeling like the last actual testimony we need to take, unless I've missed something, is to get JFO in here. Then an assignment I'm going to give to myself is to look back through all the testimony we've taken so far, see if there are any specific asks. And I was going to try to pull together a document for everybody that had, here's what we've learned so far, here's what they're asking for us, or here's what we need to think about, put some links in there. Thank you. And get that out to the committee to look at with plenty of time so that we still could take testimony and all sign off on the committee letter and not have it be late. Does that sound like a plan?
That's next Friday. It's due. Right?
Next Friday it's due. So I'm feeling like I need to work on some sort of document for us all to look at, like pretty PDQ here, so that we don't run out of time.
So
Yeah,
I would like to voice support for something that I'm guessing will be extremely difficult for us to do, which is I feel like we have to have an understanding of these IT projects. And you know, the spend, and I feel like that's us, and that it's interspersed throughout the budget, throughout the building. And I'm not sure how we would do it, except for asking the other committees if they have IT projects to let us know about them. I don't know whose job it is to do that in a kind of comprehensive way. It's not ours. And I think this is part of the problem that I'm seeing with this reporting that we're having. There's no way to look and see IT across the enterprise like the projects, which I think is problematic. And so
Even on utilizing the EPMO dashboard.
So does that tell us how much money is being appropriated this year?
Tells you the total cost of the project.
Does it tell us how much is being appropriated this year?
but we didn't do that last year. So I'm struggling to understand what's materially changing. Like, we didn't look at an ADS budget last year line by line that had every dollar for every project. We looked at the EPMO dashboard, which is where all these projects were rolled up and presented to us. And so to my mind, as long as, because how we did our oversight last year was that we looked at the ADS annual report, we looked at the EPMO dashboard, and I couldn't agree more that like that EPMO dashboard is our key tool in my mind. Like, that's where we look and see, geez, running behind, over budget. We relied on JFO to show us the projects they were working on or that they were flagging. And we held oversight hearings throughout the session on big ticket items that we knew from the EPMO dashboard, but we also knew just from being here in the building and from working with Lisa Govin, which big projects were moving forward. And we tried to take systematic testimony, not on every project, but, you know, on, I don't know, we heard from the Secretary of State, we heard from VDOL, we heard from DMV. So I guess I'm struggling to understand, unless the EPMO dashboard doesn't work anymore and can't be updated. And I think that's an area of real concern. I'm struggling to understand how our work is going to be any different.
I was talking to Adam after we had him in here and commented that the hundreds of millions of dollars we've got in projects stacked up over the next several years seems like the big number that we ought to be worrying about. That's what's on the EPMO dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And his response was, well, it actually, the big deal from his point of view is the 100 million or so that we're spending every year on IT project, on IT, on ADS and IT generally. I took that to me, well, I guess actually we heard what most of that money is, but that includes the spending on each of the projects year by year. So $100 million a year is a pretty big number. And having a handle on that number is really important too.
Who's got a handle on that?
Well, I don't.
And that's my point, Madam Chair. And I am not saying that we are falling short. I am, and I'm not even saying that we have the time, but I mean, this, I'm just worried. I don't think,
I came away from today feeling like there's going to be better ability to
we
to
don't,
con- to provide some controls on those, or to get a sense of the deficit spend model, like that doesn't work. To have that internal service fund going deeper into deficit every year, from 1.5 million to 7 million to 13 million to 25 million, because ADS is performing services that the agencies can't reimburse for. Like that's alarming to me.
Are we worried about oversight of these projects?
yes,
So,
but budgetary, like who,
so EDS works with whatever agency there is
Mhm.
to formulate what they want, and it goes out for RFP.
Yeah.
Once the contract, I mean, if you don't want me to talk, I won't.
no, I mean, I understand this. I don't think, sorry.
Yeah, I want to hear your thought process.
Once that is awarded, there is an assigned employee of ADS, whether it's contractual employee or an actual employee of ADS, that has meeting after meeting after meeting with whoever's in charge of the project for that agency. They constantly look at it. They constantly look at expenditures, and ADS does oversight on that. They question you hard if there's something not going right. And if you're showing that you're going above what their levels of expenditure are, they're going to question you. So in my interpretation, the oversight of that money is still in place.
Who's providing oversight?
ADS.
So who's providing oversight of ADS? That's the question. That's the problem I'm having. That's the problem I'm having.
Well, and interestingly, I see what we're hearing about this budget change as DFM is going to be providing greater oversight of ADS as well. I know we have a role, but
Yeah, I mean, I
Right,
see
like
what they're
this-
doing around the internal service fund, and that makes a lot of sense to me.
right.
So just to maybe be very specific and to have really taken us far off course here. It is the projects and understanding what the administration is prioritizing to spend on IT projects, where and how and who in the legislature has oversight of that. Because we don't.
Well, yeah, we do. We don't make those decisions. We have the same oversight role as we've always had.
Right. And instead of everything being out of this committee, the oversight is going to each individual agency's committee of oversight.
And here. And JITAC.
We can ask JFO for a list of the IT projects across agencies, right? They should be able to pull that up for us. Is that,
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
have access to all that, right?
yeah, but yes. But we can ask, but I think that, sure, we can ask. I don't know if they have. You mean in the new budget?
It would be good for us to see what
Yeah.
projects are being budgeted for the next fiscal year. I mean, the dashboard has everything broken down by agency and projects quite clearly, but that's as things stand now, not fiscal year 27.
Yeah, it doesn't tell us what's being spent this year.
right. Like, for instance, are we making any investments in the child welfare system?
Yeah.
No, we're not. What do we think about that? Like, so they'll say something about that there, but what about other, like, is there any kind of oversight about and
Well, and that's what I'm struggling to understand is what's changing here. And just to repeat what I said earlier, because I might not be being clear, but we did not last year in our budget letter,
Mhm.
take a look at every single IT project line by line.
Yep.
How much was budgeted in the FY 27 or in the FY 26 budget, and take testimony on every single IT project and render opinions on that, because that they were always scattered.
They weren't
We
always
didn't-
scattered,
we
but
didn't have that
we did not do
information.
that last year.
Okay.
We did not do that last year.
We
You're
didn't have that
correct.
information.
But right, and I'm not sure that's,
Would be good to look at. We don't have to take testimony on it.
So, for instance,
so when
we
JFO
were
comes in, we can ask them that.
awash in federal funds, the committee of jurisdiction got priorities from the administration about what they wanted to spend IT on. And the legislature kind of weighed in on that. And I recognize that I am absolutely throwing a monkey wrench here, but I'm concerned about the oversight aspect of this. And yes, we did not do this last year. I don't think we're falling down. I think we're making things better.
Well, you're not really throwing a monkey wrench, because what I'm envisioning, it's not like this committee is going to vote to say, oh, the budget's not going to be that way. We're not doing this way.
No, it's
But I think what I'm envisioning is, a couple paragraphs summarizing what we've learned about what's changing and what parts of it we think might be good and what parts of it we think are that we're concerned about.
Mhm.
And we want to make sure that the legislature keeps its eye on. Like, it's not like we're going to take a vote on, do we think, on, oh, we don't want it to be this way, go back to the other way. So I'm imagining a kind of thoughtful couple paragraphs that says, here's what we understand is changing. These are the areas that we think might be beneficial. And these are the areas that we're concerned about. And we'd like to make sure that Approps and JITAC and Hedi keep an eye on this.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm imagining the outcome is going to be here.
Well, Approps in particular is going to be concerned about the additional spending over last year, right? Because they have a much tighter amount of money.
The 14
I
million.
mean, we have the
Yeah.
budgeting of ADS. Budgeting of ADS, it feels like we've got a good handle on that. It's the projects.
Yeah, but it's how much is being spent this year is what we don't know.
Also, we might want to say something about staffing, because they mentioned that they're gonna let attrition happen. I'm just, project management is really important with the coordination now on the budget. And so I would not like to see their staff be too lean, because that will impact project success and budget.
But my sense from the secretary was, well, we can let these people go because now it's going to be over at the department, and that yet what we're hearing.
Right. What we heard from Lisa.
Yeah.
That's people doing that. It's embedded project managers.
But I didn't think that was changing.
Well, it's just a matter of, as attrition happens, like kind of attrition. I don't know.
So do you think I'm missing the thread on next steps here? Like, I don't see how we can move forward unless we hear from JFO. I think we'll definitely try to get them in like ASAP. And then I think I have to try to take a crack at drafting something, which will be very preliminary, but I don't know what else to do as a first step besides having something to look at. And maybe it's not even a draft letter. Maybe it's just like a working document.
I mean, that sounds right to me. That
To
sounds
say
right
like,
to me.
here's what we need to think about. Here's what we need to look at. Here are the links.
And we may have some additional questions for you.
Yeah.
Once you do that.
I
Okay.
mean, this is outside the budget discussion.
Yeah.
But when we had that joint hearing downstairs, with the system that failed,
Yeah.
there didn't seem to be any urgency to get this corrected. And at least that's the view I got
And
from it.
it's costing money.
Yeah,
See what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else did that.
Oh, yeah, that was.
It's like, oh yeah, it crashed, okay.
And I guess my, to my point is, I don't think we're gonna be able to fix, well, I don't know. I mean,
I mean, is that on their dashboard? That,
It is, isn't it? Hang on, let's look. Who's got?
yeah, I know we're getting outside.
Well, I don't think we are getting outside because we have a budget letter to write and we need to figure out what to put in it.
So if you go to ADS's website, and there is a thing with legislative reports down on the left-hand side, and you open up the 2026 annual report, there's a lot of information in that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the,
The CWIS project start date, 2023. Project completion date, 2028, but there's no information about implementation date, money, or anything. So
Didn't they say that was because it had not been awarded yet?
yes, they did say that. Because I remember now, I was looking at the dashboard during the hearing. And yeah, it's because it hasn't been. It's, are they in the RFP process? Is that?
I believe that's what they said.
So to me, I mean, to me, one of the key things that we want to flag is this EPMO dashboard and how critical it is that that be timely and maintained. It's all, you know,
there's a bunch that estimated completion date was in late last year, and they're still on here. What, we don't really know whether it's completed or not, do we? Current estimate.
I took notes during the hearing and they said, it's gonna be 2 to 5 years to complete, depending on resource availability.
And they didn't put anything in the budget. So
7 million was allocated.
last year, nothing this year.
right, because there was just that, we know what's in the budget for. Digger actually did a great story on it. Did you guys all read that?
Mhm.
Anyway, well, that's what I see as next steps on our budget letter. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to draft that, but I'll try to do it as soon as I can. And I don't know what that means. As soon as I can. But I will try to do it as soon as I can. And then tomorrow, we have another vote. This is a big vote week. Tomorrow we're voting on our committee bill 260726, and I sent everybody that language, and that's posted on our website, I believe. Let me make sure. So that vote's tomorrow morning at 9. Let me make sure it's posted. Yes, it was posted today. So tomorrow on the consolidated bill, we're voting on draft 1.3 dated 2/9 at 11 a.m. And this it's really handy because Maria she highlighted all of our changes. And she basically just went through and made all the changes that we talked about when we walked through the bill and worked it up last week. So we had that committee conversation. We walked through the bill line by line. Everybody weighed in and she made all the changes that we asked her to make. And so that's what's posted. for our vote tomorrow.
Where do I find that?
It's on, if you go to our, webpage. So go to our committee webpage. And then click on the bill tab. Let me know when you're there.
26-0.
Yep, 260726. And then once you click on that, you go to drafts, amendments, and legal
Okay,
documents.
all right.
And then it's that top draft for Moria.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's for tomorrow. And Sebelia's also the floor reporter on that one, so she's got a big week.
Yeah, and figuring out what we're spending on IT everywhere. Go
Yeah.
on them.
Okay, I think that's a wrap for today. All right, we can go off live.